Hello everybody, I'm George from Ireland. Behind me, where the blue plaque is the house where Friedrich Engels lived. So Friedrich Engels is best known as a communist theoretician, as the right-hand man of Karl Marx. So like Marx, Friedrich Engels was born in Germany, very western part of the country, and he was born in 1820, so 2 years after Marx. And so he came from a prosperous factory-owning family. He's brought up as a Christian of the Protestant denomination. He was rather an academic sort, but the idea is that he would join the family business in a managerial capacity. So he went into it, and the Industrial Revolution was really taking off in Germany, which is obviously was behind the UK in terms of that. But Germany was marching towards being the leading science and technology country in Europe. But he was horrified by the conditions that workers had to endure, and by the poverty pay upon which they subsisted in his father's factories and elsewhere. And the Engels business empire expanded in the United Kingdom. They had a factory in Manchester, which was after London and Birmingham, the biggest industrial city in the UK. So he came over to Manchester to have a look at conditions there, and was again aghast at the way things were for the workers. So he got to know Karl Marx. He spent some time in Paris, worked on the Jahrbucher there. He participated in the 1848 revolution, that failed revolution in Germany, of liberals, nationalists and socialists, those groups overlapping, and it was finally defeated by the summer of 1849, whence he went abroad, and I don't think he ever returned to Germany. So he was here. He took up with an Irish woman, he had children with her. They eventually married, and then he later had a relationship with her sister. So what else about Engels? So he resided here at London and helping Karl Marx is writing Das Kapital. And Engels was no mean writer himself. He was also absolutely fluent in English. He had better handwriting than Karl Marx, whose handwriting was notorious. So Engels, he may come across as quite a dour figure in some of the pictures of him, but he was actually quite cheerful and gregarious sort, very sociable, certainly liked to drink. Like Marx lived in less salubrious circumstances in Soho, about 3 miles south of here. We're in right beside Primrose Hill, so this is one of the most desirable residences in the whole of Londinium, because obviously yonder you can't read that white sign with the bus, so the van's going past. That is Primrose Hill. Go around the corner here, up towards Primrose Hill, which affords a splendid vista over central London. So anyway, he died in 1895. I'm not sure where he's buried. I don't think he's buried in Highgate Cemetery like the rest, but he was an icon of communism, and there was certainly in the Soviet Union, there's this sort of triumvirate to begin with of, well, triptych perhaps of communist deities, for want of a better word, of Marx, Engels, and indeed Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. So the various things were named after him. There's still a statue of Engels up in the middle of Moscow, but he's rather overlooked. He's less famous than his literary and philosophical partner, Karl Marx. He was also vegetarian. He was certainly into feminism, things like that. He was a deep critic of religion. Though Engels had been brought up a Christian, he completely lost his faith and thought the whole thing was about hoodwinking the gullible working class. So that is Friedrich Engels. He's got some descendants who are alive to today. Now, his surname, it can mean English in the Dutch language, because he came from Wuppertal, quite close to the border with the Netherlands. Or is it close to Angel in German, or is that Angel? No, maybe not. That's Blauer Angel. Okay, that's enough from me. So please follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and book online lessons with me in history, politics, religious studies, French, law, anything else of that nature. So, and I'm a tour guide in London. Right, and thank you so much for your donations on PayPal. I really need them to keep this going. Toodaloo.